Welcome to Infidelity Diaries. Explore the secrets and stories of infidelity with us. I never thought my life could change so suddenly and dramatically. Just a year ago, I was confident in my future, my marriage, and our cozy home on the outskirts of Seattle. But one decision, one meeting, turned everything upside down. My story is one of love, passion, betrayal, and self-discovery. It is full of unexpected twists that will make you reflect on how far we are willing to go for our feelings and where the line between desire and loyalty lies. Get ready to dive into a world where every decision has its price, and love may not be what it seems at first glance. My name is Jessica, and I am 32 years old. I've been married to Jack for 8 years. We live in a cozy house on the outskirts of Seattle, surrounded by green hills and fresh air. Jack is a civil engineer, and his job often demands a lot of time and effort. As a freelance journalist, I spend more time at home, maintaining order and comfort. Our relationship always seemed perfect. Jack was my hero, the person who always supported me and inspired me to achieve new heights. He knew the right words to lift my spirits, and his smile always warmed my heart. But as time went by, his work increasingly took him away from home. I began to feel lonely, despite our unchanged feelings for each other. One day, after an especially long business trip, Jack came home with unexpected news. He said his old friend Tom was moving to our city and would stay with us for a while until he found a place of his own. Tom was like a brother to Jack, and I knew he would be happy to help him. I was also glad to meet someone new, as months of loneliness had made me long for companionship. When Tom arrived, I was pleasantly surprised. Tall, with tanned skin and piercing blue eyes, he looked like a man used to getting what he wanted. His gaze was confident and charismatic, immediately catching my attention. Tom turned out to be not only an interesting conversationalist, but also a great listener. We quickly found common ground and talked a lot about life, our hobbies, and dreams. In the first days of his stay with us, I tried to be hospitable, preparing delicious dinners and doing everything possible to make him feel at home. Jack was pleased to see that Tom and I got along well, which brought me satisfaction. But gradually, I began to notice that something more than friendship was developing between Tom and me. One evening, when Jack was working late, Tom and I decided to spend time together watching an old movie. We sat on the couch, laughing and commenting on the funny moments. The atmosphere was light and relaxed. At some point, I caught his gaze and felt something stir inside me. His eyes glowed with warmth and understanding, and I sensed an invisible connection forming between us. When the movie ended, we were still sitting together, enjoying the silence and each other's company. Suddenly, Tom reached out and gently touched my hand. It was a tender, almost innocent touch, but it stirred a storm of emotions in me. I looked at him, and our eyes met. At that moment, everything felt right, and I couldn't resist the desire to move closer to him. We slowly leaned towards each other, and his lips softly brushed against mine. It was a cautious, exploratory kiss, as if we were both testing how far we were willing to go. I felt his hand slide down my back, pulling me closer. At that moment, the whole world disappeared, leaving just the two of us, immersed in passion and desire. Our kiss grew deeper, more passionate. His hands confidently wrapped around me, and my fingers tangled in his hair. I felt his warmth, his closeness, and it was indescribably pleasant. We lost track of time, savoring every moment. But suddenly, I realized what was happening and pulled away. "We can't," I whispered, trying to catch my breath. "This is wrong." Tom looked at me with understanding and a hint of sadness. "I know," he replied, "but sometimes feelings are stronger than us. I can't deny what I feel for you." Those words sounded like a confession, and I felt my heart clench with conflicting emotions. On one hand, I knew I loved Jack and didn't want to hurt him. On the other hand, there was a spark between Tom and me that was hard to ignore. "We need to be careful," I said, trying to find a way out of the situation. I don't want to destroy our marriage and friendship. Tom nodded in agreement. I understand. We'll be careful. That night, I couldn't sleep, pondering what had happened. I felt guilty towards Jack, but at the same time, I couldn't deny that there was something special between Tom and me. I didn't know how to handle these new feelings, or what to do next. However, one thing was clear. Our lives would never be the same again. The following few days, I tried to avoid Tom, fearing that our feelings might resurface. I immersed myself in work and household chores, trying to distract myself from thoughts of him. Jack, noticing my tension, suggested we spend the weekend together to relax and forget about daily worries. I agreed, hoping that time spent with my husband would help me regain control over my emotions. We went to the lakeshore, taking a tent and everything necessary for a picnic. This place had always been our favorite, where we often went during the early years of our marriage. The time spent together in nature reminded us how much we loved each other. We enjoyed the warm rays of the sun, swam, and laughed, reminiscing about the good old times. But even in these moments, I couldn't completely forget about Tom. His image constantly surfaced in my mind, and I felt an internal struggle between love and guilt. Returning home, I realized I had to make a decision: either leave everything as it was and try to forget my feelings for Tom, or confess to Jack and risk destroying our family. Meanwhile, Tom also remained involved. He sensed my distance and decided to talk to me. One evening, when Jack was late at work, Tom approached me and quietly asked if we could talk. I couldn't refuse, feeling that I needed this conversation too. We sat on the terrace, watching the sunset. In his eyes, I saw a mix of sadness and hope, which made me feel even worse. Jessica, I can't stay silent any longer, Tom began. I know something special happened between us, and I understand that you feel torn between your feelings for me and your love for Jack. But I can't deny what you mean to me. I took a deep breath, trying to find the right words. Tom, I feel this connection too, but I'm married and I love Jack. I don't want to hurt him. What we are doing is wrong. Tom looked at me with understanding, but his eyes were still full of pain. I know, and I don't want to ruin your marriage. But I can't just walk away and pretend nothing happened. We need to find a way out of this situation. I nodded, feeling tears welling up. But what way? I don't know what to do. My love for Jack is strong, but I also feel something special for you. We sat in silence for a long time, each lost in our thoughts. Then Tom suggested we try to be just friends, to see if our feelings would fade on their own. I agreed, though deep down, I knew it wouldn't be easy. The next day, I decided to talk to Jack about my feelings. I knew honesty was the only way to maintain our trust. In the evening, while we were having dinner, I gathered my courage and started the conversation. Jack, I need to talk to you. It's important, I said, feeling a knot of anxiety inside. He looked at me with curiosity and slight concern. Of course, Jessica. What's happened? I took a deep breath and began. The past few weeks I've been feeling very lonely. Your work takes up a lot of time, and I understand that's necessary. But during this time, I've grown closer to Tom, and I feel there's a connection between us. Jack listened attentively, and his face gradually darkened. What are you trying to say? I haven't cheated on you, but I feel like I'm falling for Tom. It's wrong, I know, but I can't ignore these feelings, I continued, feeling tears streaming down my cheeks. I want you to know the truth and understand that I intend to fight for our marriage, but I need your help and support. Jack was silent for a few minutes, processing what he'd heard. Then he slowly nodded. Thank you for your honesty, Jessica. It's hard to hear, but I appreciate you telling me the truth. I've also felt something was off. Let's try to work through this together. His words were a relief. We decided to go to family therapy to better understand each other and strengthen our marriage. I knew we had a tough road ahead, but I was ready to fight for our love. Over the following weeks, we started seeing a therapist. These sessions helped us open up about our feelings and experiences. Jack realized how much I needed his attention and support, and I learned I had to be honest and open about my desires. Meanwhile, my relationship with Tom gradually changed. We tried to remain friends, but sometimes sparks still flew between us. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't completely control my feelings. One evening, when Jack was late at work again, Tom and I ended up on the terrace, just like before. We were watching the stars, and I felt my heart beating faster. Tom turned to me and quietly said, "I know we agreed to be just friends, but I still love you, Jessica. I can't hide it." His words stirred a storm of emotions within me. I knew I had to make a choice. "Tom, I also feel something special for you, but I love Jack. I can't hurt him. We need to end this before it's too late." Tom nodded, understanding the seriousness of my words. "I understand. I'll leave tomorrow to give you and Jack a chance to rebuild your relationship." His decision broke my heart, but I knew it was the right thing to do. The next day, Tom packed his things and left. We said our goodbyes with sadness, but also with hope for a better future. I was left alone, realizing that we had a long and difficult journey ahead, but I was ready to fight for my love and restore our trust. This story is not over yet, and I hope that in the end, we will find our way to happiness and understanding. Several weeks had passed since Tom left. Jack and I continued working on our relationship, attending therapy sessions, and spending more time together. It wasn't easy, but I felt we were moving in the right direction. The therapist helped us discover new ways of communicating and understanding each other better. One of the significant moments in our therapy was discussing trust. Jack admitted that it was hard for him to fully trust me again after what had happened. I understood his feelings and did everything I could to earn his trust back. We started having weekly date nights to rebuild our emotional connection. These evenings helped us remember why we fell in love and brought romance and passion back into our lives. One night, during one of these dates, we went to a small restaurant by the lake where we once celebrated our anniversary. The atmosphere was cozy and romantic. We ordered our favorite dishes and enjoyed the view of the water, illuminated by the soft light of the moon. "Jessica, I want you to know that I am trying to forgive you," Jack began, taking my hand. "But it takes time. I still love you, and I'm willing to work on our marriage." His words touched me deeply. "Thank you, Jack. I love you too, and I'm ready to do everything to restore our trust. I never want to hurt you again." We spent the evening reminiscing about our best moments together and planning for the future. It was an important step toward rebuilding our relationship. Meanwhile, my thoughts of Tom gradually faded. I focused on Jack and making our life happier. But sometimes, in the quiet of the night, I still remembered him and our moments together. Those memories were bittersweet, reminding me of how easily I could have lost everything I had. During one of our therapy sessions, our therapist suggested we spend a weekend away from the city to further strengthen our relationship. We decided to go to a small cottage on the coast where we could spend time alone, enjoying nature and silence. The trip began with a pleasant drive along scenic roads, and we both felt the tension gradually melt away. The cottage was cozy and comfortable, with a view of the ocean and its own garden. We spent the first day walking along the beach, collecting shells, and enjoying the fresh sea air. In the evening, we made a fire on the beach and sat together, embracing, watching the stars. Jack looked at me with warmth and love. "Jessica, I want this weekend to be the beginning of a new chapter in our lives. Let's forget the past and focus on the future." His words filled me with hope and confidence. "I agree, Jack. I promise to work on our relationship and do everything to make us happy." Our conversation turned into a passionate kiss, symbolizing our new beginning. His lips were warm and soft, and I felt his love and desire enveloping me. We kissed long and tenderly, savoring every moment. The next day, we decided to go hiking along the coastal trails. The scenery was breathtaking, and we enjoyed every step. At one point, Jack stopped and hugged me from behind, whispering in my ear, "I'm glad we're together. You are my only one." His words filled me with joy and gratitude. We continued our walk, holding hands and talking about our dreams and plans for the future. This weekend became a turning point for us. We returned home with renewed strength and determination to make our marriage strong and happy. I felt our relationship had become deeper and stronger, giving me confidence in the future. However, life is always full of surprises. One evening, while Jack and I were having dinner, I received a call from an unknown number. I answered, and it was Tom on the other end. His voice was anxious and slightly nervous. "Jessica, I need to talk to you. It's important," he said. My heart raced. I didn't know what to expect, but felt it could change everything. "What happened, Tom?" I asked, trying not to reveal my anxiety. "This isn't something to discuss over the phone. Can you meet me tomorrow at the cafe on the corner of our street?" he asked. I glanced at Jack, who was watching me with interest. "Okay, Tom, I'll be there," I replied, trying to stay calm. When I hung up, Jack asked, "Who was that?" "It was Tom," I replied, not hiding the truth. "He said he needs to talk to me. I'll meet him tomorrow at the cafe." Jack nodded, his face serious. "All right. I trust you, Jessica. Just be careful." The next day, I went to the cafe, nervous and unsure of what to expect. When I entered, Tom was already there. He looked troubled and tired. "Thank you for coming," he said as I sat down across from him. "I have news that could change everything." I tensed, preparing to hear something important. "What happened, Tom?" He sighed and began explaining. "Recently, I found out I have serious health issues. I need to undergo treatment, and I don't know how long it will take. I wanted you to know because you mean a lot to me." His words shocked me. I felt tears welling up. "Tom, I'm so sorry you're going through this. If you need my help, I'm here to support you." He smiled gratefully. "Thank you, Jessica. Your support means a lot to me. I wanted to tell you in person." We talked for a long time, discussing his treatment and my feelings. I realized that despite everything that happened, Tom remained an important part of my life. But I knew my main focus had to be on preserving my marriage with Jack and continuing to work on our relationship. When I returned home, I told Jack about the meeting and Tom's news. He listened attentively and supported my decision to help Tom. "You're strong, Jessica. I'm proud of what you're doing," he said, hugging me. Our marriage continued to grow stronger, and I felt we became even closer. Tom remained in my life as a friend, and I hoped he would overcome his illness. Life goes on, and we must cherish every moment we have. This story is just the beginning of our new journey. We will stay together no matter what, and fight for our love and happiness. Several months had passed since Tom told me about his health issues. Jack and I continued working on our relationship, and our trust in each other grew stronger every day. We attended family therapy, planned new projects together, and spent more quality time with each other. Our evenings were filled with warmth and love. One day, as we sat on the terrace enjoying our evening tea, Jack suddenly said, "Jessica, I want us to start a new chapter in our lives. Let's take that trip to Europe we've always dreamed about." I smiled, feeling joy and excitement. "That's a wonderful idea, Jack. I've always dreamed of seeing Paris and Rome." We started planning our trip, and it gave us a new impetus to strengthen our relationship. Together, we explored routes, chose hotels, and dreamed about the places we would visit. Meanwhile, I continued to stay in touch with Tom. He was undergoing treatment and gradually recovering. We exchanged messages and sometimes met for coffee, discussing his progress and sharing news. Jack understood the importance of this friendship for me and supported me in it. The day of our departure arrived. Jack and I stood at the airport, holding hands and feeling the anticipation of our adventure. I knew this trip would be a new beginning for us, a chance to strengthen our love and rediscover each other. Our trip to Europe was magical. We strolled through the narrow streets of Paris, enjoying views of the Eiffel Tower, savored Italian pasta in Rome, and marveled at the beauty of Venice. Each place was filled with romance and magic, and I felt our love growing stronger each day. Upon returning home, we realized that our journey had become a symbol of a new phase in our lives. We were able to leave behind all the hurt and misunderstandings and start anew, with a clean slate. Tom also recovered and found his place in life. We remained good friends, and he was happy to see our marriage with Jack growing stronger. We all understood that sometimes life throws challenges at us, but true love and support can overcome any obstacles. This story is not just about love and betrayal, but also about forgiveness, restoration, and new beginnings. Jack and I learned to value each other and our relationship, and now we are ready for any challenges that may come our way. Our future is full of hope and dreams, and we will face it together, hand in hand, knowing that true love can conquer all.